what a season from Dan Quinn, Cliff Kingsbury, flowers to Cliff Kingsbury. I got to give it to him because I thought this Commanders offense didn't have the cliff drop off. Jayden Daniels, offensive rookie of the year, deservedly so, I think, or favorite to win offensive rookie of the year, I should say.
Be.
Should be. This is just a transformed franchise. We got Dan Snyder crying articles.
Yeah.
God, that was a wonderful read over my espresso this morning.
Maybe that's enough to cover up the fact the Commanders lost this game. Like, what's better, going to the Super Bowl or knowing that Dan Snyder's hates the success of your team?
Hates everything that's happening. But no, it was reconfigured team, new faces everywhere, good vibes all the way right now with this franchise. It looks like you got, at the very least, a franchise quarterback. How high he is in the hierarchy, we will see, which is going to be a lot of fun. But as I like a league with a lot more good quarterbacks, because that means usually you get more good ball play. And that's what I thought the Washington had this year. A lot of entertaining games. Defense kind of went through up and down. But hey, it was patchwork with free agents, a reconfigured roster. They had so many new faces, and here they are winning double-digit games, making a run in the playoffs. But Matt, where do you think the Commanders can go from here? What do you think they should first reflect on? What you maybe think they need, or maybe just take a moment to appreciate maybe the Commanders' surprise season. I think their over/under this year was 6.5 wins. So yeah, almost doubling it is a very good season for the Commanders.
Yeah, I just joked with you in the little break there that I feel like these two postmortems are going to feel very different. Now the fact that we have done this with AFC quarterbacks before, and like, oh well, they'll be back. Joe Burrow, they were in the Super Bowl, they lost the Rams. They'll be back. No problem. Well, Burrow didn't even make the damn playoffs this year.
Nope.
Not his fault. But still, that's just it. Nothing is guaranteed in this
Not
league.
his fault.
Not his fault. He didn't make it, but maybe beat the Patriots in week 1. But regardless, maybe don't do the September stuff every single year. Let's make that a goal.
Spot the rest. Don't spot the rest of your conference that has all these dragons in your conference at quarterback. Don't spot them any games. You need every single one.
Yeah, that would be great. Just maybe your 2025 New Year's resolution, if you can still make one here 26 days after the fact. But no, I think we do this with young quarterbacks. Like, okay, it's just beginning. They're going to get many cracks at this, and nothing is guaranteed in this league. That is the reality of it. However, man, you gotta feel like everything is right there for the Commanders with how this went, with how good Jayden Daniels is, how unbelievably poised he is. But I almost think that the poise and the comfort in the eye of the storm has that talking point, which has just so been clearly first and foremost over the playoffs, has almost made us forget that this guy is, just an incredible quarterback too. Besides the fact that he is that in that archetype of quarterbacks we were talking about earlier, the Russes, the Hurtses, and all that. Like, I do think he fits into that bucket, but I find him to be so much more of a creative player than any of those guys. And he is, without question, I think the most accurate of that archetype. Yeah. So to me, the sky is the limit for him. There's no doubt about that. Now, for the rest of the team, I think the first thing that you're going to want to think about here is how many of these successful rental veterans that you probably thought, how many of them are really part of your future now? Zach Ertz, 11 catches in this game. And Brady was consistently pointing it out, like on late downs, this is kind of their answer here. And, it's on these quick out routes and things like that, or just the little sit down against zone coverage in the middle of the field. And Daniels and Ertz have had a really good connection all season. Yep. Frankie Louvu playing like a unhinged lunatic. I never thought we'd get a public scolding of an NFL team.
I was shocked by it. I was wondering if they would say maybe because when I know for a fact that they warn teams like, hey, if you keep doing this, we'll call delay game, get an automatic score. I've seen the ref exception. They have a rule in the rule book that they say based on the how the play should be, the spirit of the sport kind of thing. Yeah. But that announcement was angry. He was hey, if these guys continue this bullshit, we're giving them a touchdown. Okay. That was unbelievable.
It was literally like a kid is acting up in a grocery store. It's like, we're going home. Like, we're going to go home if you keep this up. So, that was crazy. Obviously, Bobby Wagner, Jeremy Chin, You can kind of go down the list here of these. Noah Igbenogany had a really good season for them as their slot corner. Helped them move Mikey Sanders still outside. Like these sort of Dante Fowler Jr. Is he going to contractually just stay with Dan Quinn because that's been like the second half of his career. That's the deal. So a lot of these type of players that really helped you out in these like I don't want to call them patchwork guys, but they did patch what I thought would be big holes on this roster. How many of those guys are part of your future? Because otherwise you do have a lot of cap room. You still have some draft picks here. You really kind of knocked it out of the park in year one of Adam Peters. So to me, I think the first order of business though is these patchwork guys and things like that. How many of them are part of like our future going forward?
Yep, that's exactly it. They're third in cap space. They patchwork. It's funny because even when I was introducing this kind of part, I almost said something like patchwork, but I was like, that's feels mean because like they were good players for him. So, maybe some are a little overrated like Wagner, but like he still played solid ball for him. And then, Jeremy Chinn, you brought up, Colleen Farrell, Dante Fowler, you brought up Ertz, Cornelius Lucas, Michael Dieter, Tress Way, their punter, the other guy that threw a football tonight. Or today.
Well, he wasn't that big. They had to let him do something. He hadn't been doing very much in the last
I know,
month.
All these 15 play drives. It was unbelievable. Zacchaeus, Diami Brown, Noah Brown, Benjamin St. Juste. Yeah, they have a lot of starters that on free agency. Are they all 90 overall guys? No, but like you said, just kind of continuing your original point, is that they have to determine what they're investing in. All right, am I giving Bobby Wagner another 1-year deal? Does he fall off that year? And that's scary because he's 35. Do we give a guy like Jeremy Chinn a couple years, a 3-year deal? Like they have different bets they have to make, shore the house up. They have the money to do it. But the scary thing is when you overpay for some of these guys because you're like, oh, well, we got to bring them back. We have the money to spend it. And then you're committed to them in a couple of years. Even not even just like cap wise, but kind of locker room collateral wise. Well, he was our day one guy, so we got to reward him, and then maybe you draft someone better, and it becomes a little messy. Again, these are all things these are good problems down the road.
Yeah, they're champagne problems compared to what Washington's been dealing with previously.
To not having a playoff win since, what was it, 2005, 2004? Like, again, that stat keeps blowing my mind because I did not know that until I saw it. But yeah, that's what they're going to have to figure out. But again, they got the quarterback, which is the hardest part. And it's the NFC that's going to be wide open. And you don't have, and I keep using the term dragons. There's not a ton of dragons in the NFC. And so, man, if you have one of the dudes, that's going to give you a shot to at least try and get double-digit wins every year. You have the Eagles in your division. The Cowboys are doing the shoddy thing. And then the Giants are drafting in the top 5 again. So, you got a chance to kind of stay competitive in your division, even if you play a harder schedule next year. They got a pretty tough, the NFC East plays a pretty tough schedule next year anyways, but they're in a good spot. They got picks. I think, they got to keep shoring up the defense. I think that's first and foremost. Maybe find some secondary pass catchers. I know you like Little McCaffrey. You said you had points of interest with him, right? You just I think we had some interest.
I like the theory. I like the theory of like what he could be, but he was a developmental player. There's a reason that he didn't make an impact in year one,
2 years ago.
Right, exactly. So I mean, I think that he's an interesting. He's an interesting theory in this offense because I think he could be kind of like that chain moving slot receiver.
Yes.
That they probably need, but at the same time, like, do you want to do that or do you want to go get like a Chris Godwin in free agency? Something like that.
Love Godwin in this.
Yeah, Godwin would be perfect in this offense.
Yeah.
I've said that for a while that I think he'd be so perfect for this particular offense. But Diami Brown is a free agent. Did he play himself into a big contract? Like, what do you do there? Because he had a nice playoff run, but how much of that is just, Jayden Daniels is really good and
put it on his chest.
Some of those, he's playing out of his mind. So, I mean, that's sort of the questions here. Because really the only guys that they committed to multiple years, I think in the offseason was Dorrance Armstrong, Austin Eckler got a 2-year deal from them. Luvu got a multi-year deal, but like a lot of these guys were 1 year. Yeah, which is great. Like all of those worked out really well. But Zach Ertz, I thought he said it really well after the game. They were talking to him in the locker room and he was like, I wish I had more of my career left to play with this guy, basically. Like, I wish I wish I wish I was playing with him when I was younger and I wasn't this age. I'm paraphrasing, but that was along the lines of what he said. And that's what a lot of these guys feel like right now, is that I think it's a big reason why they were in this game, why they made this run, is because they had a lot of these veterans. They had a lot of like the tone setters, the floor setting players, and like the culture builders. That stuff is really important.
It is.
But now it's what does phase 2 look like? And if you hold on to phase 1 too long, when you get into phase 3, are you starting to, like you said, have you capped development for younger players and things like that? So that really, I do think it's the first step for this team to take in the offseason.
What's good for them too is, okay, outside of setting the record for most fourth down conversions in the season, is they have a proof of concept now. It's not just theory. Like, hey, trust us. We're going to win games if you keep working hard. If you keep running to the ball, if you keep blocking, yada, yada. There's proof of concept. Oh, we had a top 8 offense. We had a defense that rallied. Wow, we won not only one playoff game, several playoff games. Like that. Wow, okay, so next year, even when, say they lose back-to-back games next year, there's not like, oh man, are we ever going to turn this around? Oh man, he said I have to, play in this role. Just talking a lot about just maybe the locker room, the culture building and everything, having that proof of concept like Kevin O'Connell did in his first year. When some of it was, empty calorie wins that year. I think Washington had some better wins than that Vikings team did. But again, it was proof of concept going like, oh, okay, this works. This offense works. Oh, okay, we're winning games. What we're doing is working. So I can't ask for anything better in year one. I mean, obviously you made it to the Final Four when no one ever even thought you'd make the playoffs, much less do what they did. So yeah, I think this is a good starting point, but they still have some decisions to make, but they're not all home run, game swinging, franchise deciding decisions, just more minor to medium ones.